What happens when one of Hollywood's most beloved icons disappears in the blink of an eye, leaving behind nothing but whispers of a dark secret? Could Jennifer Lopez, the star who once ruled the stage, really be hiding something far more sinister than we ever imagined? It was a moment no one could have predicted. The Los Angeles County Courthouse, June 17, 9:24 a.m. A courtroom full of spectators, journalists, and legal professionals, all waiting for the next step in the ongoing investigation into music mogul Diddy. But in a matter of seconds, the focus shifted completely. A witness, hidden behind the anonymity of a secure video feed, spoke a single sentence that would send shockwaves through the entire room. The testimony she gave changed everything. And within minutes, one of the most glamorous stars in Hollywood's history was on the run. Jennifer Lopez, once the epitome of strength, elegance, and power, was now being hunted like a fugitive. The arrest order had been issued, but before anyone could react, she vanished. No trace, no warning. What followed was a media frenzy. Fans and critics alike were divided. Was Lopez a victim of a calculated conspiracy, or had she masterminded the very thing that's now tearing apart lives and careers? Stay tuned as we dive deeper into one of Hollywood's most shocking cases, a case where the line between fame and scandal is blurrier than ever.
The sudden arrest. It was 9:24 a.m. when everything changed. The courtroom, once calm and uneventful, was about to become the epicenter of chaos. Jennifer Lopez, dressed in black with her signature sunglasses, sat quietly among the legal professionals, a secondary witness in what seemed like an ordinary day of proceedings. She had no idea that within minutes, she would become the center of an explosive legal scandal. The proceedings had been moving along smoothly when an anonymous witness, referred to only as Ms. D, began her testimony via secure video transmission. At first, no one could have predicted the gravity of what was about to be revealed. With a trembling voice, Ms. D claimed Jennifer Lopez had orchestrated everything, from luring her into a private party to knowing about the hidden cameras set up to record her. Her shocking statement hung in the air, freezing the room in tense silence. 3 minutes after the testimony, Judge Radford wasted no time. He banged his gavel, suspending the session, and issued an arrest warrant for Jennifer Lopez, citing potential complicity in coercive acts and the unlawful use of video recordings. As the court officers moved in to arrest her, Lopez's reaction was swift and calculated. She stood, removed her sunglasses, glanced at her attorneys, and without a hint of panic, turned and walked calmly toward the rear exit, the staff-only door. She was gone in an instant. It wasn't just the shock of her sudden escape that left the courtroom stunned. It was the eerie certainty in her demeanor. Lopez wasn't fleeing in fear. She was fleeing with purpose. This wasn't a mistake. This was a carefully planned move, one that sent a chilling message to everyone watching.
The anonymous witness testimony, the atmosphere in the courtroom shifted from disbelief to shock as the testimony of the anonymous witness, Ms. D, was revealed. A sense of unease permeated the air, with every word she spoke hanging heavily in the room. The witness, speaking from an undisclosed location via secure video transmission, began with a calm but chilling account. Her voice trembled as she recounted the events that had led her to the courtroom that day. But what she said would resonate far beyond the walls of the courthouse. According to Ms. D, the night that would change everything began with an invitation. It wasn't Diddy who had personally invited her to the infamous party, but Jennifer Lopez's representative. The promise? A chance to work with Lopez's music team and possibly even appear in one of her high-profile music videos. The offer sounded too good to pass up. What Ms. D didn't know was that the night would take a terrifying turn. She described how Jennifer Lopez herself had greeted her at the door, friendly and warm, offering her a drink to help her relax. For the first 20 minutes, everything seemed normal, but soon Ms. D began to feel dizzy, her vision blurring and her body losing control. Then came the most terrifying part of her testimony, being led into a room with pink lights, a bed covered in a black sheet. She couldn't walk, she was helpless, and Jennifer Lopez was right there, holding her hand, guiding her into that room. The courtroom fell completely silent as the enormity of her words sank in. She didn't just name Diddy, she named Jennifer Lopez. The most shocking part? Ms. D revealed that she had been drugged, filmed, and threatened with blackmail. She had seen Lopez's reflection in the wardrobe mirror, holding a phone as the horrifying events unfolded. That's when the prosecution's case started to shift from a peripheral celebrity figure to a central player in a dark and manipulative scheme. The tide was turning.
The escalation of the case. As Ms. D's testimony concluded, it became clear that this wasn't just another Hollywood scandal. It was something far more sinister. The prosecution, stunned by the weight of the allegations, now had a clear path forward. What began as a civil case involving Diddy had transformed into a full-scale federal investigation, with Jennifer Lopez now standing at the center of it all. The courtroom, once filled with legal professionals and journalists, was now the scene of a shifting tide that would forever change the public's perception of the global icon. The arrest warrant for Jennifer Lopez, issued in the middle of the trial, sent ripples through both the legal and entertainment worlds. Judge Radford had acted swiftly, recognizing the gravity of the situation. Within minutes, the case went from a simple inquiry to a high-profile federal criminal investigation. The accusations were damning. Lopez wasn't just a passive witness at a party gone wrong. She was allegedly complicit in orchestrating the entire operation, which involved the drugging and coercion of young women filmed in compromising situations for the purpose of blackmail. This wasn't a mere accusation anymore. It was a well-supported theory that the authorities were determined to pursue. The FBI quickly took over, ramping up the investigation to federal priority level. As part of their efforts, they issued a statewide manhunt for Lopez, who had already disappeared. Her legal team was tight-lipped, refusing to comment on the charges or offer any statements to the media. Meanwhile, the court was forced into an indefinite suspension. But it wasn't just the authorities who were now after Lopez. The media went into overdrive, and the public response was divided. On one side, there were die-hard fans who refused to believe the allegations, calling them politically motivated. On the other side, those who once hailed her as an empowering figure now felt betrayed, deeply disappointed, and unsure of who Lopez really was. This was no longer just about one woman's actions. It was about the very nature of power, fame, and manipulation in Hollywood. The investigation was only beginning, but the consequences for Jennifer Lopez were already unfolding in real time.
Background and rumors about Jennifer Lopez. As the investigation into Jennifer Lopez intensified, it became apparent that the singer, actress, and business mogul's name had long been linked to rumors and whispers of darker dealings within the entertainment industry. What many had dismissed as baseless gossip or fleeting conspiracy theories now took on a chilling new light. The sudden emergence of hard evidence, corroborated by Ms. D's testimony, forced the public to confront a side of Lopez that had remained largely hidden and for years was actively protected. For over a decade, Lopez's name had quietly surfaced in reports related to parties organized by Diddy, where young women were allegedly recruited, manipulated, and subjected to psychologically abusive environments. These were no ordinary parties. They were rumored to be exclusive gatherings where powerful figures like Diddy could control the lives of aspiring women through promises of fame, success, and career opportunities. And more often than not, Lopez was said to be present, sometimes as a guest, sometimes as an orchestrator. Since 2012, a series of anonymous tips had hinted at Lopez's involvement in high-profile model scouting events, the kind of gathering that masked its true nature behind the guise of opportunity. According to some sources, these events were actually organized to lure young women into a cycle of exploitation. Yet, despite the growing rumors, there was no concrete evidence to tie Lopez directly to these allegations. In fact, each time someone came forward with accusations or details, they were quickly silenced by Lopez's legal team. Lawsuits were quietly withdrawn, settlements were made, and rumors vanished from the public eye, as if they had never existed at all. In 2015, a waitress filed a lawsuit accusing two women of forcing her into a room, recording her in a compromising situation, and threatening to release the footage unless she signed a non-disclosure agreement. While the case was dropped without explanation, the similarities between the description of the women and Lopez's known features were impossible to ignore. Yet, just as quickly as it appeared, the case was buried. This pattern of vanishing incidents, anonymous leaks, and swift legal action was becoming all too familiar. The questions were piling up. How many more women had faced similar experiences? And how deep did Lopez's involvement run in this network of manipulation and control? What had once been dismissed as gossip was now becoming a clear trail of circumstantial evidence that tied the global superstar to something far darker than anyone could have imagined.
The dark side of the private parties. As investigators delved deeper into the case, they began to uncover a disturbing pattern behind the so-called private parties hosted by Diddy, with Jennifer Lopez's name continuing to surface at the center of it all. These were not simply lavish gatherings filled with stars, champagne, and music. They were carefully orchestrated environments designed to exploit young women under the guise of opportunity and success. The most chilling part? Lopez's involvement was far more than that of a casual guest or bystander. She played a pivotal role in the very structure that manipulated and controlled the lives of those who attended. According to former staff members who worked at these events between 2018 and 2022, the parties were divided into two distinct layers. The outer layer was where the mingling, music, and drinks flowed freely. Guests were encouraged to network, with the atmosphere designed to create a sense of exclusivity and prestige. But the true purpose of these parties was hidden behind closed doors. Inside the inner circle of the party was where the real manipulation took place. Phones were confiscated, cameras were turned off, and security measures were in place to prevent any evidence from being recorded. It was in this secluded zone that young women were selected, often under the pretext of working with Diddy or Lopez on music videos, promotions, or collaborations. But the reality was far more sinister. These women were filtered into private rooms where they were subjected to intimidation, drugging, and coercion. Former security and logistics staff revealed that Jennifer Lopez wasn't just a passive figure at these events. She often arrived early, reviewed the guest list, and played a key role in deciding which women would be allowed into the private areas. Her role wasn't just to attend the parties, she was actively involved in shaping the atmosphere, creating a sense of safety and trust to lower the guard of the young women being targeted. A former security officer even recalled an incident where Lopez was present in the surveillance control room during a Miami event. When he entered to fix a technical glitch, he reported that Lopez, with a slight smile, told him, "You didn't see anything, did you?" This comment at the time seemed odd, but in light of Miss D's testimony, it now appeared to be a deliberate effort to cover up the exploitation that was taking place behind the scenes. What was once seen as a network of high-profile parties was now beginning to resemble a sophisticated operation designed to manipulate and control. And as the pieces of the puzzle came together, it became clear that Jennifer Lopez was not just an innocent bystander. She was a key figure in the darker side of these events, helping to facilitate the very exploitation that had now come to light.
The fall of a Hollywood icon. As the investigation into Jennifer Lopez deepened, the public's perception of the global superstar began to unravel at a frightening speed. Once hailed as the epitome of success, a trailblazer for women in entertainment, an icon of Latin empowerment, and a role model for millions, Lopez's name now sat at the center of one of the most shocking scandals to ever hit Hollywood. What was once an untouchable career was now in jeopardy, as revelations about her potential role in the exploitation of young women began to take hold. The fallout was immediate. Major media outlets, once eager to celebrate her accomplishments, began to distance themselves from the star. Publications like Vogue, Variety, and Rolling Stone, which had previously painted her in glowing terms, swiftly removed or buried their favorable content. The once omnipresent ads featuring Lopez were yanked from billboards, and even her long-running deals with major brands began to unravel. Versace, Coach, and Dolce & Gabbana all confirmed they were reevaluating their contracts, unsure of the legal and ethical ramifications of continuing their partnerships with the embattled star. The impact went far beyond just business. In Hollywood, where image is everything, the scandal quickly spread like wildfire. Artists and collaborators who had once been proud to work alongside Lopez began to turn their backs. Beyoncé, Shakira, and even Ben Affleck, once rumored to be quietly reuniting with Lopez, all kept silent. Social media, once a place where fans proudly celebrated her achievements, now turned on her. Fans were divided. Some rallied behind her, claiming she was the victim of a malicious plot to bring her down, while others expressed deep betrayal, questioning the true nature of the woman they had once admired. The most painful blow, however, wasn't the corporate distancing or the fractured relationships. It was the profound sense of betrayal felt by her millions of fans, particularly women who had seen Lopez as a symbol of empowerment. For years, she had been the face of strength, independence, and breaking barriers. But now, with the possibility of her involvement in orchestrating abusive, manipulative parties, that image was shattered. What had once been a carefully constructed empire, a brand built on flawless performances, empowering speeches, and flawless beauty, was suddenly cracking at the seams. And the hardest question that remained? If Lopez could be involved in something so dark, how much of her public persona had been an act? How much had been constructed to hide the reality of what lurked behind the glamour of Hollywood's spotlight? The truth was starting to surface, and the fall of Jennifer Lopez was no longer a question of if, but how deep the damage would go.
The hunt for Jennifer Lopez. As the days passed following the issuance of the arrest warrant, the intensity of the manhunt for Jennifer Lopez escalated to unprecedented levels. Once one of Hollywood's most powerful and admired figures, she was now a fugitive on the run, with federal agencies and state law enforcement working tirelessly to track her down. What began as a sensational courtroom drama had now transformed into a high-stakes pursuit, with her every move scrutinized by the media and the public. By June 17th, just hours after Lopez disappeared from the courthouse, the Los Angeles Police Department issued an emergency arrest warrant, escalating the case to third-tier priority. Soon after, the FBI took over the investigation, activating their Celebrity Tracking Division, a division once tasked with locating high-profile figures like R. Kelly and Ghislaine Maxwell. Jennifer Lopez, once synonymous with glamour and power, was now on the same level as individuals accused of serious criminal activities. But Lopez was no ordinary suspect, and her escape was anything but typical. Within minutes of the arrest warrant being read, she vanished. Surveillance footage from the courthouse showed her slipping out through a rear exit, walking calmly and purposefully toward a waiting SUV. The vehicle, unmarked and with no license plates, sped off, evading all attempts to track it. The disappearance was so swift, it was as if she had known exactly how to evade capture, as if she had planned her escape before the proceedings had even begun. As authorities scrambled to piece together her whereabouts, social media and news outlets buzzed with speculation. Where was Jennifer Lopez? Was she hiding in plain sight, or had she already left the country, taking refuge in a place without extradition agreements? Rumors spread that she might be holed up in the United Arab Emirates or the Maldives, both popular destinations for celebrities seeking refuge in the face of legal trouble. Yet, despite the manhunt's extensive scope, Jennifer Lopez remained elusive. No social media posts, no public statements. Her legal team remained silent, offering no updates or explanations. The silence only fueled the mystery and the growing sense of urgency among investigators. As the days turned into weeks, the pressure on Lopez continued to mount. With every passing hour, the likelihood of her being found seemed more uncertain. The public, too, was divided. For many, this was no longer just about a criminal investigation. It had become a question of trust. Was she guilty of orchestrating a vast scheme of exploitation? Or was she the victim of a coordinated plot to destroy her career and reputation? The hunt for Jennifer Lopez was more than just an investigation. It was a race against time, and the longer she remained hidden, the more the questions surrounding her involvement would continue to haunt the entertainment world. Would she return to face the music, or would she disappear completely, leaving behind only a shattered legacy?
The conclusion. The shattered legacy. As the investigation into Jennifer Lopez's alleged involvement in a dark and sophisticated web of exploitation continues, the questions surrounding her career and character grow ever more complex. Once a symbol of empowerment, ambition, and resilience, Lopez's carefully constructed image now lies in tatters. The public's fascination with her rise to fame, her personal struggles, and her undeniable influence on the entertainment industry has been overshadowed by the disturbing allegations against her. The truth remains elusive. Jennifer Lopez's silence, both in the courtroom and in the face of mounting legal pressure, only deepens the mysteries surrounding her involvement. Has she truly been a puppet in a much larger scheme, or has she been the mastermind behind a well-orchestrated operation designed to manipulate, exploit, and silence those who dared to speak out? What was once celebrated as a shining example of success and resilience has now become a cautionary tale. The question is no longer about whether Lopez will return to the spotlight, but what will be left of the star who once captivated millions. The investigation is ongoing, and with each new piece of evidence that emerges, the narrative surrounding Jennifer Lopez continues to shift. For her fans, the bitter truth is that the woman they once idolized may not be the person they thought she was. The cold, calculating escape from the courthouse, the mysterious silence, and the rising tide of evidence suggest a much darker story, one that challenges everything we once believed about her. In the end, the true measure of her legacy may not be what she accomplished on stage or in front of the camera, but the choices she made behind closed doors. As the investigation unfolds, one thing is certain: the glitz and glamour of Hollywood can no longer hide what lies beneath the surface. What do you think? Is Jennifer Lopez a victim of a deeper conspiracy, or is she the orchestrator of this entire scandal? The truth may be out there, but it has yet to be fully revealed. Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to follow for updates as this explosive case continues to unfold.